Hi guys, I'm Avi and today me and my friends will be presenting to you a case study on predictive policing, that is PredPol. The topics that we'll be covering are what exactly is PredPol and its characteristics like success factor, input output, domain and case specific knowledge base, UI, etc. We humans love predicting something, and this has been going on since the beginning of time, I think. A great example I can remember is the Oracle of Delphi from the Greek mythology who used to predict future events. Now, in modern world, amazing technologies of big data have helped us to be more accurate at predicting almost anything. One such application has been super important since the beginning of time, that is the need to protect communities and cities. The police word has actually been derived from the Greek word polis, that means city. This combination of predicting and policing has formed PredPol, which basically predicts future crimes. PredPol uses predictive analytics using statistics to support law enforcement. Now, these analytic categories are hotspot analysis, regression methods, data mining techniques, near repeat methods, spatiotemporal analysis, and risk terrain analysis. These methods are either used separately or combined to predict the crime place or the criminal.
Hello, my name is Zenil Haria. I'm going to talk about what is PredPol. PredPol is a software that combines artificial intelligence and big data to help prevent the crimes by predicting when and where crime is most likely to occur. Predictive policing technology is an algorithm developed from high-level mathematics and sociological statistical analysis of criminality. This algorithm factors in historical crime data from the police department and produces predictions on where and when a crime is most likely to occur. Predictive policing tries to harness the power of information, geospatial technologies, and evidence based intervention models to reduce crime and improve public safety. It enhances existing approaches such as problem oriented policing, community policing, intelligence led policing, and hot spot policing. Crime prediction method fall into four general categories: forecasting places and times that crime will occur, predicting which individuals will commit a crime, predicting perpetrators' identities, or predicting victims of crime. Now we look into the success of PredPol. It leads to predictions twice as accurate compared to analysts using only hotspot mapping and intelligence models. It quickly became one of the market leaders in 2012. It was also found that there was a decline in crime rate in areas of Santa Cruz and California Police Department. From 2011 to 2012, burglaries declined by 11%, robberies declined by 27%, while assaults were down by 9%. It was also found that arrests were up by 56% and recovery improved by 22% in Santa Cruz. You must be wondering what are the inputs to the PredPol. PredPol bases its prediction on the basis of three inputs: crime type, crime location, and date and time. No personally identified information or demographic, ethnic, or socio-economic information is ever used. This eliminates the possibility for privacy or civil rights violation. PredPol requires daily log entry of such data in order to make it robust and time invariant. Newer events are weighted heavier than older events. Now we will look into the outputs of PredPol. PredPol lets you set specific missions for each shift, beat, and day of the week. It displays the highest probability locations for the events associated with each mission. Predictions are displayed as red boxes on a web interface. The boxes represent the highest risk areas for each day and for the corresponding shift. It seeks to predict the following crime types: burglary, auto theft, theft, robbery, assault, battery, and drug crime. Now we will look into the output screen. As you can see, the server is HTTPS, meaning it is secure. From here, the officers can change the crime mapping and prediction settings. They can change the type of shift and also the type of crime. From here, the officers can download the reports of the crime on smartphone or on tablet. The crime are also mapped instantaneously on the Google Map.
Hi, I'm Arghyadeep Das. Let's talk about domain and case specific knowledge base. The knowledge base is an essential part of the PredPol system because it is on the basis of which the inferences will be made. The knowledge base needs to have data of past crime records in terms of crime type, crime location, crime date and time. For domain specific knowledge base, it also needs the correlation between these three parameters to be stored. For case-specific knowledge base, that is, a single diagnostic run, the knowledge base needs to be updated with the daily crime records because the predictive algorithm heavily favors the more recent incidents in comparison with historical incidents, somewhat similar to what LSTMs do. So before we start understanding the underlying algorithm, it is important to understand the types of crime predictions that PredPol does. First is criminal profiling or intelligence-led forecasting. Historical data has shown that criminals perform crime that is neither so far away from the hideout nor so close to it either. So what happens is that we are able to generate predictions about the whereabouts of the criminal. A geographical profiling algorithm was formulated by Rosmo. Today, this algorithm is used worldwide. Next is risk terrain modeling or place-based forecasting. This uses historical data of a geographical location and predicts the possibility of a crime in that area. PredPol analyzes short and long-term patterns in crime reports using machine learning and an aftershock algorithm, originally a mathematical model for predicting earthquake aftershocks. The aftershock algorithm states that the aftershock frequency decreases by roughly the inverse of time from main shock plus a small delay. This is also known as Omori's law. The steps included in the inference engine of PredPol are: first, lay a grid over the jurisdiction as in a traditional grid mapping. Estimate the current rate at which new crimes are happening in each grid square. This rate will not only depend on the characteristics of each grid square and jurisdiction-wide temporal effects also. When there has just been a crime, assume that the rate for new crimes will jump up temporarily. You can think of it as if it's an aftershock rate, as per the Omori's law. This jump declines the longer the grid square goes without seeing a new crime, eventually falling back to the background rate. So you can think of it like there is a sudden spike in crime, and if no further crime occurs, then the spike will gradually go down. So this is the mathematical model of the algorithm which we just talked about. However, the explanation of the equation given here is out of the scope.
Hi, my name is Karan Sheth, and now let's look at the user interface of PredPol software. The user interface as well as the backend is hosted on a cloud-based custom Java software, either running in the police network itself or on a secure cloud server. The police can log in using their credentials on the PredPol software. These credentials are required because the information is quite sensitive. Now, once they have logged in, they have many different options. They can either upload their crime report, they can set the prediction options, they can see the crime mapping options in an interactive map, they can build a heat map or generate a report based on the crimes and daily report, weekly report, or even monthly and yearly reports. They can map out the patrols on a map and compare this with the crimes that have taken place in that area. So let's have a look at the user interface itself. This is a part of the user interface. Here we can filter out the crimes based on the type of crimes, when it occurred, how many days in the past, the weekday, like if you want to compare whether the crimes are happening more on weekdays or more on weekends. Here we can see that on Tuesday the rate of crime is higher than on any other days. And we can also filter out based on the time. So here's the output of the filters that we put in place. We can see here in black lines the patrol that the police cars have done, and we can see different types of crimes and different colors in a heat map sort of way. So this is quite useful when comparing different types of crimes and to predict where a crime might occur and where should the police be patrolling in future, so that the patrols are more fruitful and not just patrolling without any aim. This is a report that can be generated based on crime type and a comparison between weekly, monthly, or yearly data of the crimes that have already happened. And based on this, we can see that uh, is our method of controlling crime working or not. So, PredPol gives a very good way of analyzing itself and whether it is working or not. So, now we have seen how the user interface itself. So, let's now look on to the data flow in PredPol. As we would accept, the data starts from the victim itself. Victim goes on and reports the crime to the police. Once the police has has taken the report from the victim, they upload the crime report into the PredPol software using the UI that I just described. This computers, the PredPol servers, decode the geographical information from the report and maps it out on a map and uses its algorithm and its previous database that it already has and creates a heat map and a hotspot based map to map out where the crimes might occur in future, and this is then shown to the police itself in a nice heat map sort of way. Lastly, let's look at the controversies surrounding PredPol. PredPol is limited only to a specific subset of crimes. The current success rate is 4.7%, which is quite low. It has also generated controversies after a research showed it appeared to be repeating systematic discrimination against black and ethnic minority offenders. This discrimination was due to bias amplification due to feedback loop. Inherent bias was there in this AI because of more and more cases of black and ethnic minority offenders, and this amplified with time. In California, police officers found that it targeted black people at roughly twice the rate of white people. So this was everything about PredPol. Thank you. Also, don't forget to wash your hands and stay safe.